Coming up next on the Filthy Rich Cleaners podcast.
Who the hell do I think I am to even try to take this on? Who do I think I am to even consider creating a bid for this? Like, I've never done this before.
From your first dollar to your first million, welcome to the Filthy Rich Cleaners podcast, presented by ZenMade. Join your host, Stephanie Pipkin, founder of Serene Clean, as she shares proven tips, tricks, and hard-earned lessons. Whether you're just starting out or ready to scale, get ready to discover how to build your own cleaning empire. Let's roll up our sleeves and dive in.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Filthy Rich Cleaners podcast. My name is Stephanie, and I am from Serene Clean, and I'm your host here on the Filthy Rich Cleaners podcast. I have a repeat guest here, back by popular demand, Miss Amanda with Stovall's Cleaning Service in Missouri. And for those of you that did not listen to Amanda's first episode, highly recommend. The vibes are killer. They are through the roof. And that's why I wanted Amanda back, because I'm like, she has such good questions and she is going through so much growth personally and professionally that I think that it's a wonderful learning mechanism for us all. So welcome back, Amanda. Happy Monday.
Hey, happy Monday. Thank you so much for having me back. I'm super excited.
So am I. So currently you are really having some pretty spectacular commercial opportunities come towards you. And I'd love to kind of talk through those, and we can discuss some of the questions you have related to those specifically before we jump into other areas of conversation. So I'd love to, one, talk about what are these commercial opportunities that are coming your way and how are they finding you?
We've advertised that we are commercial, but we've never had a huge percentage. And we've done like 2 to 3 max commercial small offices that we can just fill a gap in. A few weeks or so ago, I got a bid request through our booking form for commercial cleaning, and they like maxed out on the square footage on my form, which is 10,000 square feet. And I was like, oh my gosh, how am I going to do 10,000 square feet? Like I think the highest one we've ever done was around 8,000 square feet. So we're doing pretty small commercial. And I was like, ooh, 10,000. Like, I don't know if that's going to really fit into our gap, like how I like to do the commercial. So I look into it and I get on the phone with the lady and I'm like, hey, can we schedule a walkthrough? And she's like, yeah, but actually it's 170,000 square feet. When I tell you, I almost shit my pants. I'm like, okay, 170,000, 10,000 sounds cool right now. Like, we can go back to that. And so I'm like, I don't even know. In my brain, I'm trying to figure out what 170,000 square feet even looks like. I just couldn't comprehend it. It was so far out of anything I've ever been presented with. But I showed up for a walkthrough and pretended like I knew what the hell I was doing. No idea.
Yep.
It's a church.
And this was a church, right? Yep.
Yes.
Church.
Mm-hmm. And it is 3 separate buildings, and they have a staff of between 40 and 50 year round. And it's insane. Like, if you picture like a hospital lobby where there's like a coffee shop, bakery, cafeteria area, that's in their church lobby in the main building. And then they have a separate building that's a middle school building and a separate building that's high school and college buildings. And they host all kinds of events, and it was a lot. It took us a little over 2 hours to do the full walkthrough, and I did not measure anything. Like, I wasn't out there with a little laser thing. That probably would have taken 10 hours to do. So yeah, I asked how they found me because I was like, I don't understand. This definitely wasn't a word of mouth situation. Like, what is going on? And she was like, well, I Googled and you had the best reviews and I really liked the vibe of your Google profile. And I was like, thank you, Stephanie, first of all, for telling me to do that.
So what Amanda just said, because that is exactly how I got my big giant commercial accounts. Like, that's how I got a $1 million job at Fort McCoy a couple of years ago. They Googled and saw my reviews, and they saw that it was filled out and it was accurate. And it's like, the reason you guys have got to get so sick of me saying get Google reviews, but it's like, that's why commercial accounts absolutely search. And that, like, it's fantastic. And, it's going to work for you for years. Like, the Google reviews you're getting right now are culminating for years and years and years. They don't go away. So it just is, it's such a core tenet of like a successful cleaning business.
Yes, I agreed 100%. And I'm so thankful that I learned earlier this year, like making a Google business profile and really delving into getting those reviews. We don't have a ton. I think we have 33, 35-ish right now, but they're all 5-star. One of them is from a commercial client, but I don't even think she stated in the review that it was a commercial cleaning. So they all appear to be residential, and a 170,000 square foot commercial facility reached out to us. So extremely important. And I have my social media manager post on our Google business page or profile 3 times a week. So there's constantly pictures or updates or something going on there. And we've seen a huge spike in views on the Google business profile as well, like in the data. So yeah, I was like, wow, well, that's fantastic. I'm super excited that you found us on Google. So when she first reached out, she said that their pain point was the company they had currently wasn't paying attention to detail. And so when I started asking questions through the walkthrough, like, what is that detail? The only detail they could give me was water buildup on the water fountains, like calcium buildup, because it's out in the county, like in the country out of city limits. And we have really hard water out here. And she actually used to staff 5 full-time staff for cleaning, and they decided to outsource it. And they had a chemical that worked great. You just let it sit on there, wipe it off. They told the current cleaning company about it. They ignored that, and now they're having a lot of buildup. Okay, so your pain point is your current people don't listen to you and take your concern serious.
That pausing of like, okay, that tells you that one, commercial is very sticky, but right there, if you don't listen directly to what they're requesting and like ignoring something, that's a very easy fix, right? Use this product to fix this problem for them. They wouldn't have been even shopping around, most likely, if they hadn't been ignored like that. So it's just like, if a customer is blatantly telling you a need and then you choose to ignore it, it's like, that's on you. That's totally on them. They shouldn't even be, you shouldn't even be having this conversation with this client. But that cleaning company is, not listening.
Yeah, that's exactly. And so I was like, okay, this isn't even like a detail issue. This is they're not hearing they don't feel heard. And clients have to feel heard. Like that wins them over 10 out of 10 times if they feel heard. And so then throughout the walkthrough, we started talking, and then she started telling me stories about how the current cleaning crew, they've never met the supervisor or manager of the company. It's only been the technicians, and they go through a lot. About every 3 weeks, there's 2 new people coming in. So that's pretty high turnover. And she said that she is having to manage that staff. They will come to her and tell her, hey, I'm going to be 30 minutes late tomorrow. Hey, I have to leave an hour early. Or, hey, my kid just called, I have to leave sick.
That's ridiculous, because that is not the job of the customer to manage your employees. Oh my gosh, how unprofessional, dude.
I know. And so when I was talking to her at the walkthrough, her tone, I could feel her heart rate getting high when she started talking about that. And I was like, she's not even that upset about the details. She's upset that she's having to manage people, and that's not her job. And it's consistently happening. And so I went through the walkthrough completely not even prepared to like sit down and have like a meeting with her. She kind of cornered me at the end of the hallway where her office was, and was like, there was a guy walking behind me and like cornered me at the end of this hallway. And they were like, hey, so do you mind if we sit down and talk about some things? And I was like, oh shit, I was not prepared to talk. I didn't have any questions prepared. And I think it was the best thing that's ever happened to me, because I didn't have time to overthink what I was going to say. You know what I mean? Like I was put on the spot, and I sat down and I just started nailing out questions like, tell me about what's happening right now. Let me hear. And I could tell in their tone what was really frustrating for them. And I'm like, okay, I can fix this. So I start talking about the software we use. Hello, ZenMaid. Thank you for making my life easy, because I basically sold my company to this client because of software. She was like, wow, everything seems really streamlined. Like, it seems like you guys have things very easy communication throughout the team. I use team very loosely. Okay. I have to find humans to take this job.
They don't know nothing, and they don't need
That's what I'm saying. I said, my staff is trained to do X, Y, Z. And as we walked through, we went through different scenarios, and I was like, well, our staff is trained. Okay. For example, there was a room that some painting had been done, and the painting crew left like paint cans and stuff out. And I said, my staff is trained to take a picture of that, upload it to our ZenMaid notes, our software notes. And then managers would contact and be like, heads up, this room got missed. This day because of paint cans out, and she was like, wow, that's really impressive. Yeah, my team that I'm going to find in a month and hire for this because they don't exist right now.
Bipolar. There's multiple of me. Like,
yeah, it's totally fine.
I am the team, me, she, her.
Yes, absolutely. And I've started switching to like my verbiage to people. And like if they message me personally on Facebook, I say, hey, here's our email, here's our phone number, or here's our booking form, whichever. So because I want everybody to be funneling to the same place instead of chasing down my Instagram DMs, my Facebook DMs, my personal text messages. So I get them all funneled to the same place. And then I just say, my admin team will be reaching out to you. And I sign the emails and the text, SCS admin team. It's me. I am admin team. But when I do have somebody else or whatever happens, like it just, I don't know, it kind of sets them up to not feel like it's just me doing everything and there is a whole operation, so that in the future when there is a whole operation and a whole team, they're not shocked and confused as to why Amanda isn't answering everything.
I'm really happy you brought that up because it really brings up the psychology of how people perceive us and optics in our businesses. Because I did the same thing when it was just me. I would always use phrases like we, us, our teams, admin, that type of stuff, even if it was just me, because I was trying to peacock and look bigger than I was, which gives them confidence. And this is exactly going back to Mark's conversation. That was a great podcast. I really like that one about he's, commercial king. And he talked about of like, we need to look big and impressive, but still, and in my opinion, the other side of that is still having that human touch and like, we need to have professionalism, but balancing that with like the humanity of it. And then like you're showing them that you're going to hear them, you're going to meet the managers, you're going to do all of these things because that's your role as the management and the owner, but it is not to necessarily like, handle all of this other stuff. And so I think it's a really delicate balance because, and another example of this is like when we first started getting big commercial accounts, I just was like, hey, we're a small business. Can we invoice twice a month? So that we can help with cash flow. And so I did use that as a way of like requesting something and it worked. We invoiced multiple of our big accounts twice a month, which is fantastic. But always keeping in mind, I do think sometimes people, they try to pull at the heartstrings too much of like, well, I'm a small business, like, and it's like, they don't care if the results are not like, there's only so much empathy and, flexibility the client's going to give if you're not meeting their needs, right? If you're not able to like do what they need to do, it's like, yeah, I can empathize with that, but the job's not getting done, right? So I think it's really like critical that we pull we're a small business like lever very judiciously,
Yes, I agree. And actually at the walkthrough, I was very upfront and honest with them. I said, this is way larger of a project than we've ever taken on. It will take me some time to get some foundations put in place, some systems in place to be able to do this efficiently and to our standard. I let them know. I was just very transparent about it all at the walkthrough and followed up with my email and let them know. And actually, I sat on it for a few days and I emailed them and I was like, I forgot to ask what their timeline was. At the walkthrough, because like in residential, when somebody messages you, they're ready to pay, like they're ready to get it done right then. Commercial, not so much. I found out that a lot of commercial places who already have cleaners in place do like a 30-day, what's it called? Like breakup. What is it called?
Yeah, exactly. End of service, like an end of contract thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I completely forgot to ask that. And so in my email, I said, this fall, I'm not able to do that. I think realistically for my company to take this on, we're looking at January. And I totally understand that timeline does not work for you. I would like to keep the relationship open if you ever need anything in the future, this type of project or something else, because they do all kinds of stuff. And it's local to me. So why not keep that relationship open, even if I can't take it on at this moment. So that was very nerve-wracking. And in my brain, I was like, yeah, they're not going to wait till January. She emailed me back and said, we could possibly wait until January. Can you get me an estimate? And I was like, oh shit. Oh God, I don't know what to do. I was like, I don't even know a number. Like, this is so massive. And so it's funny that you brought Mark up because I reached out to him and I was like, I need help. And I don't know if you're interested in trying to help me. But we messaged back and forth and ironed out some things and I was able to get a number over to them.
Ooh, I'm so happy you reached out to him because he is so good at churches. That is his bread and butter. So if you mind sharing, like, how did he help you come to numbers? Like, run through that for me.
So we kind of walked through everything. And this specific job is very odd because they have 2 full-time staff at the church who do open spaces. So they handle all the hallways. So we're not cleaning the whole 170,000 square feet. Oh, also the 170,000 square feet has to be done twice a week. So it's 340,000 square feet, 5 days a week. It's a 5-day-a-week account. And so there were a few things that were kind of red flaggy to me. Like they said, we like invoicing to be done weekly. I told them at the walkthrough I invoice monthly. And I was like, okay. She said the reason they like to do that is because if time is missed or a cleaning day is missed, they can deduct it from the following week and they don't have to try to keep track of missed cleaning dates all throughout the month. In my head, I'm thinking there shouldn't be a cleaning day missed, but I guess that's something they've gone through.
That's probably what's interesting. What you're pointing out right now is the customer basically coming up with a solution in subpar conditions. It's like, well, this is what they think that's what is best because that's what they've had to do.
Right.
You know, with this prior company where it's like, well, if that's not happening, that's irrelevant. Though I'm curious, do they pay them? Like how often would they?
Weekly. Yeah. So they get invoices.
Yeah,
I know. And that kind of ties into one of the questions I wanted to talk about today. But so they get the invoice on Monday. They review. So they also require the cleaning company to clock in on site through their time clock system so that they can compare their timesheet to the company's timesheet that gets submitted every week with the invoice. So in my brain, I'm thinking, holy shit, this is going to be a lot of admin work to manage. And also, is it legal to require somebody to clock in?
The way we've had that is we have a lot of commercial accounts that have sign-in sheets and we have to sign in and out basically because they need to know who's in the building if there was a fire or whatever. They need to know who's in the building for guests. And so I can see that. I don't like, because you're not charging them hourly, it is irrelevant if the job is getting done, how many hours your team is actually taking from a clock in, clock out perspective. They are that's weird to me because other question then on the other side of this is they are expecting you to submit timesheets to them as to how long it takes. Is that what they want?
Yeah. So that's how they're saying it. And they asked if I charge hourly and I said, no, we charge flat rate, per the job. And I won't lie, over the past couple of weeks that this has been an opportunity, I've been digging and trying to figure out, should I be charging hourly? That's not how my business operates. So that's completely new to me. And I have no idea how to even do that. Aside from the basics,
That would be very unusual for that large of an account to be charging hourly. I mean, that's not saying it's unheard of, but that is... Most commercial accounts don't want that because they want a steady budgetary line. This is the janitorial cost. This is what it is every month. You can't fluctuate then. I think, again, this is coming. The reason they're even requesting that is most likely they have been dealing with a subpar company that hasn't been able to show up. So they don't want to get charged for time for cleanings that weren't actually completed, which for us, if we miss a cleaning for commercial and they're like, hey, we deduct that from the bill, but again, at a flat rate deduction, not per the hours that were missed actually, because we're charging for the job, right? So that's a bit unusual. That would bother me. I think I wouldn't want to do that.
It was one of those things that just kind of felt like a red flag, but I didn't feel knowledgeable enough to call it out in the email. So I was like, we'll just put that on the back burner for now and get people's opinions, talk to people in the industry and kind of figure it out. But also I did find out that they currently pay for 80 hours of cleaning a week through their company. So they are getting an hourly rate from their current cleaning company.
Okay. I see.
So it kind of makes sense for their current predicament, but I don't think it's going to fit well or work with us taking over the contract.
Well, and I wonder if that's like they get as much as they can get done in the 80 hours. Does that mean they're not expected to get it all done, or like?
No, there's a whole scope list, and so every day by a certain time, certain tasks have to be completed for events, classes, counseling. They have like a whole counseling wing. There's like a whole indoor kid play area that literally looks like when you would go to a city to like a kid entertainment facility. That's what it looks like. It's intense. And so certain things, they gave me like a printout, like by Tuesday at 5 p.m., these 30 areas in the property need to be completed, whatever. So like, it's very much not.
That's what I mean of like, none of this is conducive to charging hourly. So that is very strange. I think that is what the other company worked off of. So that's what they did. So I think this is a perfect example of like, sometimes we have to like basically say like, this is how we do it in our company, especially when it comes to this type of thing of charging. Like if a customer is insisting upon hourly or is insisting upon flat rate, and that's not how you do things in your business, especially for commercial, highly unusual. This is where it's like, well, no, this is how we're going to do this. And that like, I would put my foot down. I would not allow for hourly in this situation. I would not, you know?
Yeah. Okay. So, and I mean, she seemed totally fine with me telling her that I charge flat rate. And that's how when I sent the email, I sent a rate. I broke it down to weekly since they invoice weekly so that the numbers like matched well in their head when they first seen it. I think it's going to be one of those things where I have to train the client, you know?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I love that you brought up too. It's like, you know, you're not cleaning all the space. I think a lot of times with commercial people, and why it's so important to do these walkthroughs, especially a place like this, it's like, just because that is the square footage, that doesn't mean that's the cleanable space necessarily. And even if it was, this is why like I'm such a proponent, do not charge by square foot. You cannot charge by square foot because every space is different. What, you know, like all the tasks are different. So we cannot come up with a by square footage like rate that works everywhere. It just doesn't work.
Yeah, it didn't make sense to me either when I first started looking to it, and it just didn't set right with me so they have a riding floor machine and they use leaf blowers to like blow all up. Oh, they also have a whole crew of volunteers that clean what's the big room? The worship room or the sanctuary?
Sanctuary. Yep, that's what they call it.
Okay, so they have volunteers who clean that. So we don't have to move all 7,000 chairs in that place. However many there is, I don't know. They have a congregation of 4,000 and they're expecting it to be around 4,500 by spring of 2026.
This is freaking massive. Oh my God.
They're actually known in our area as the coffee church because they have like the coffee shop inside it and like the little bakery. And on weeknights, they sell like pizza, a drink, and a dessert for like $3 or I don't even know how much, but they have it so that parents don't have to worry about like going to church and then eating dinner at 8:30 or whatever, you know. And it's just very crazy. So there are multiple kitchens that need to be cleaned, but not the coffee shop. The volunteers who run that clean it. We just take out the trash from there.
Yeah, the technicality of kitchens, you're dealing with grease, and a lot of times the things that they want in kitchens, like a lot of times it's disassembling the different machinery or whatever. And it's a whole can of worms I'm not interested in ever opening.
Yeah, exactly. It kind of feels like above our pay grade. Like that's somebody who like needs certain knowledge, training, certificates, something that is not residential commercial cleaning. Like you need a kitchen cleaning crew. But the other one has like 5 microwaves, 2 giant refrigerators. There's a communion room that always has like juice all over it that's going to need cleaned. Anyways, but then like there's another wing that has like 20 classrooms and it's a super quick, just make sure that there's not food crumbs on the couches because they do like Bible study, counseling, adult classes, parenting classes, yada, yada, yada there. And so it's just spot cleaning that room to make it presentable for the next class. So like, yeah, sure, we can go through those super fast, but a kitchen with 5 microwaves, 2 or 3 refrigerators, a commercial grade stovetop, that's going to take longer. And then there's also like cafe areas with tables and chairs that we're going to have to wipe down the tables and chairs, lift the chairs up, sweep them off the floor because they only do the floors that their riding machine can get on. So, I mean, doing the walkthrough, that made it easy for me to see like, okay, the riding machine can't fit there. That's ours. Unfortunately, fun fact, I backed up all of my photos 3 days ago, and somehow all of my videos from this walkthrough are gone.
Oh
Yeah. Yeah. I backed them up to like my Google Photos and my iCloud both, and somehow like there was a glitch happening and I'm missing all of them.
no. Go to a church service and just wander around sneaking.
I know. I'm like, I'm not actually here for service. Okay, I'm just gonna wander around. Don't mind me. No, they have like a whole security team. Like, it's intense. Like, they have a security room with like walkie-talkies and safety vest, and there's like an electronic check-in, check-out area for the kids, and you have to have like your identification card to be able to pick a kid up from the kid thing. It's pretty impressive.
Very impressive organization, and incredibly so. Well, they can just drag you out and you'll be screaming, I just want to clean this place.
I'm just trying to see how many toilets are in this wing.
Yeah, right.
Like, I'm just want to clean the toilet.
Crazy lady counting the toilets.
Yeah, for real. So yeah, that's kind of how that went. Anyway, so back to Mark, I messaged him and asked, I was like, this is crazy. I feel insane for even considering taking this because it's absolutely nothing I've ever done. It's humongous. Like, I don't even know where to begin on pricing this thing, how many hours it's actually going to take, because to me, it seems like 2 full-time in there for 80 hours. I seen the cleaning crew when I did the walkthrough. Let's be honest. I did not hide from them. And they did not know that they were getting quotes from other people. So it was very interesting encounter in the hallway. And they just weren't moving very fast. I don't know. Maybe that's normal for commercial cleaners to just kind of go at their own pace. I mean, if they're there for 40 weeks, I guess they just
this is a perfect example of one, those staff members are paid hourly, which, I mean, I pay my cleaners hourly too, but point being, if you do not give them parameters and tight ones, they will take the full time, and so this reminds me of my first large commercial account, which was a manufacturing facility that made motors. I think it was 120,000 square foot, and I'm doing the walkthrough, and they were going to replace their on-staff janitors. They were looking to outsource to a contracting company like me, or contractor, I should say. You know what I mean? Like, I'm the contractor. And they told me, because I asked, I was like, how long does it take your cleaners? And they're like, we have 2 full-time cleaners that do this, and it takes them their full job. So I took that at face value of this job takes 80 hours a week to get done. So I bid it as what would take me 80 hours. And of course they're like, fuck no, like that is way too high. Like they, laugh in my face basically. But that's because when you have a janitor on staff or somebody like that, they're going to walk at a glacial pace, and they're going to there's no fire under their ass. Why would there be? Right. And so we cannot take that information and just be like, oh, okay, because we are going to be moving a lot faster. And I'm sure that's what Mark told you, is that commercial needs to be like hopping.
Exactly. And so when he and I were talking, he actually mentioned that the timing that they're paying for that size is pretty tight, which makes sense since we're not actually cleaning at all, which is another thing he brought up. He was like, please remember, you're not cleaning at all. Like, don't take all of the 170,000 square feet. He got my wheels turning, and I typically don't compare myself to other cleaners. I stay in my lane. My competition is me yesterday, me last week, me September of 2024, constantly just trying to improve myself and my company. Something about this damn bid has me in such like imposter syndrome. No, not even really that. Like, just very much like, who the hell do I think I am to even try to take this on? Who do I think I am to even consider creating a bid for this? Like, I've never done this before. And it was a big mindset thing. And I'll be honest, I delayed and procrastinated emailing them back, and I might lose the job or the bid because it took me 5 days to finally get back with them with some detailed information. But I really had to pause and get my mindset back right before I emailed them, because I knew that I couldn't send them an email if my mindset was already in defeat mode or in that comparison mode. And when I was voice messaging him, and he messaged me back and was like, first of all, don't compare yourself to anybody else. And he told me some advice that somebody gave him recently for a marathon that he ran. And he was like, you need to run your own race. You're not running anybody else's race. You don't need to compare yourself to somebody who's been running their entire life. Run your race. And I was like, oh, that's so good. Like, I know that. Mindset is my jam. Okay. Like, that's how I'm where I am. And something about this bid just allowed me to slip. And I think it's really important for anybody listening. If you do get opportunities like this, make sure your mindset's in the right place before you make any hard decisions. Because I could have really just said, this is too big. I can't do this job. And there was a couple of days where I really thought that. I was like, I'm stupid. I'm crazy for even considering this. And then there were some other days where I was like, okay, let's think about the facts. Do I have money to cover payroll? Do I have a list of applicants who are pre-qualified? They've already gone through the info session. Okay. Yes. Okay. I might be able to actually make this work. Oh, they invoice weekly and pay weekly. Cool. That means I need to cover 1 week of stuff instead of a full month of stuff. You know what I mean? And had I just shot that down immediately and been because it was overwhelming to do the walkthrough, very much culture shock. I don't know what the hell I'm doing, but I need to pretend like I do in front of these people because their issue is not the cleaning quality. It's the company that they have right now, the pain points that they have. And I know I can fix that. I'm freaking out because I don't have the staff. I might not have the money to cover payroll for said staff that I need to go find. And they might need this next month. And I'm about to take a 10-day vacation to go reset my brain. I don't know what the hell. I don't know how I'm going to do this. So I took a while to email back. And like I said, I might lose that because of that. And looking back, I should have emailed and said, please give me a few days to figure out the logistics and just communicate with them and let them know. So that would be my advice to anybody who might be in this situation. Just communicate with them because I just kept putting it on the back burner. And I do regret that, but we'll see if I get the bid or not.
I'm really happy that you just shared all of that. Thank you for being vulnerable and talking about those things because those are the emotions that we all feel when we do have an opportunity that presents themselves to us. So it's funny. I was just talking yesterday about the different opportunities that have been overwhelming to me when they came to me, right? And I'm having those same exact thoughts of don't have the staff. This is so big. We've never done anything like this before. All of these doubts just coming into my mind. And it's what I really want to implore you is if you haven't read David Goggins' book, it's awesome. If you don't know who he is, he's a very inspirational man. And he has a concept of having a cookie jar and having your mental cookie jar, which is basically the collection of wins and things that you have accomplished in your life that when you're doubting yourself, you can pull out a cookie from your cookie jar and think and have it and basically being okay, Amanda, you haven't done this before, but look at all of these other situations where you walked into it, you never did that thing and you did it. So it's this isn't you can't do this. You just haven't done this yet, and every large opportunity that's came my way, like that Fort McCoy job, our largest commercial account, it is 120,000 square foot. And when I bid it thinking we're not going to get this, we got it. And literally I was near tears after we got it because my management team is all they're how are we going to do this? How are we going to staff it? It's got all of these background check, what the fuck are we going to do? And I'm just sitting there I should have never bid it. I should have never bid it. I can't tell you how that feeling in my throat of I shouldn't have ever bid this thing. But now we're 2 years into the account and it, it runs so smooth.
Oh,
you figure it out. And I talked about this a couple solo episodes back of I have absolute confidence in my ability to figure shit out. And so should you. Look at all the shit you figured out, and just every single one of us. So it's just just because you haven't done this before. And I'm not trying to dissuade the fact that this is a huge account. That's bigger than any facility I've done. However, there is nothing special about it. There's literally nothing special about it at all. You've described the cleaning. It's very light cleaning duties. It's a church. There is no specialty, anything. It's literally easier than a house, right? And you can do house cleaning, no problem. What you're scared of is the staffing. And I will implore you that every large account you're not going to have the staffing for, because that doesn't make sense. We don't have staffing for accounts that don't exist yet. So it's like you get the account, then you get the staff for it, so that's always the order when it comes to these big boys. And so it's never like you just have a full-time cleaner with no clients that you could, that doesn't work that way. It has to go this order. And that's why, it is nice that they said that they're okay with that longer timeline. That's exactly what we do with big accounts. We're like, we can start you in 2 months. We can start you we dictate that. Sometimes they're like, but we really want you in. Well, I know you want me, but you can't have me for 2 months. Okay. Like that's how it is. Like, so yeah. And if that doesn't work for them, then it is what it is. It's just not the right opportunity, or you go clean yourself. Those are the two options kind of thing. If you don't want to lose it. And so all of that being said, it's the scale of it that's like nerve wracking. But once you start breaking it down, and unheard of that they're okay with weekly invoice and actually are encouraging that solves that problem. Because that was one of the first things I said to you when you described this to me a few weeks ago. I was like, girl, can you cover this payroll? Because if you can't cover the payroll, don't even you're going to have a whole problem. So that problem's out of there.
Yeah. And so I think it's interesting that gets brought up because, so when like I said, I did the walkthrough and I was like, I don't think this is for me. I'm a very spiritual, woo-woo person. And I believe that the universe has my back. And I'm also a firm believer that I have to be open to opportunities. And so not even a week prior to that, I told my team, I really want to focus on and grow commercial. I want to get some more small offices to fill in these gaps, not really the revenue side of it, but to fill in our gaps and be able to stay working more hours, And of course they do bring in some revenue, but small offices just don't bring in big bucks, And then this opportunity shows up in my inbox. I'm like, are you shitting me right now? Is this real life? And then I go to the walkthrough and I'm like, oh my God, I can't do this. This is insane. 170,000 square feet. And so then it was like, okay, I sent the email, told them my timeline. And I was like, they're probably not going to wait that long. And then the universe is like, oh, hey, actually they can wait that long. So here you go. You need to be uncomfortable. And so my lead tech, Micaiah, she said, she listens to your podcast or the podcast too. And she said, oh my God, is this Stephanie's military experience? Her big federal contract, is this that for us? And I was like, well, I don't think it's going to bring in that revenue, but it very well could be the thing to kickstart our growth, because we are in a growth season. And we're trying to expand the team and transfer from 1099s to W-2s and do all of this scaling. And I'm like, well, the thing that's held me back is revenue. I feel like I need to have higher revenue to be able to cover the payroll before I just start bringing on 5, 6, 7 cleaners and not have jobs for them, not have revenue to pay them. And so I'm like, well, this would provide jobs for people, which is another thing that's important to me. I want to employ people and give them a sense of security, I guess. That's the only way I can really explain it. I want to be able to provide work for people that they enjoy and they don't dread. And so I'm like, well, this would do that, and it would bring in revenue if they can match the number and make it work for their end. So I don't know. It just feels like I was trying to say no, and the universe was like, actually, you need to stick this through. And if anything, I think it's a learning opportunity. Even if it doesn't, I don't get the bid, I think it opened a door for me to talk to you about it, to talk to Mark, who never a day in my life did I think would ever reply to me. And he did that same day. And I was like, shout out, Mark. Thank you.
yeah, Mark Lineberry, you rock. So number one is, I love what you just said of breaking things down of what is actually the hang up. Because I think a lot of times, well, it's just Layla Hermosi. She says, fear is a mile wide and an inch deep. And it's that's exactly what you were experiencing of this is huge, but it's well, let's actually break this down, shall we? What are the actual problems that we're going to run into? And those are all solvable problems, obviously. And the nice thing is thinking back on that big project, that was for 6 months. You get in a contract like this, or you get an account like this, and you can give them what they need, which is proper communication, easy to do, consistency, and just showing up and doing the work. You can do all of those things. And so they don't, accounts don't like shopping around. They don't like changing vendors. The only reason that they do that is because their pain with that vendor is high enough that it's like, I'm ready to go through the pain of finding a new one and transitioning. So if you can get this account and you can keep them and have that, there, and just, I think the biggest thing is that communication once you get in there and like, okay, this is what we're, growing pains, if you will, but there isn't anything that is like necessarily like complicated or complex. It's more so just like the timing of everything and whatnot. And as for hiring people, it's like this job starts in January, you know what I mean? Or whatever, but we're going to train you ahead of that. And so, because that is something that I know you mentioned of like, how do I hire people, but I don't have work for them, et cetera. Well, remember, we don't have to pay them if they're not like working. And so that's why our part-timers do come in of like, hey, your hours are going to be between 20 and 30 hours a week. Does that work for you? And if you can't fill that 20-hour a week, then you're not ready to hire, right? There's going to be a gap there. Or you say in a month, I'll be able to fill this because of current demand or whatever. And so the biggest thing is not hiring full-timers at all, because you do not have the consistency of work to do that outside of this large job, right? Like let's throw this big job out the window and say just in your normal side of the business of like, how do you get out of the field and still afford, to live? Because right now, I'm assuming what is happening is you are paying yourself as the owner and as a cleaner, right? Like whatever okay, I'm assuming that'll make an ass out of you and me. How are you paying yourself?
So let's just air it all out there. I have not always paid myself, and I currently do not routinely pay myself.
Okay.
So that was part of the second half of 2025's Amanda Gets Her Shit Together plan, was to get the finances straightened out. It's chaos, pure chaos. So get that straightened out, start paying myself consistently. And I wasn't even bidding jobs and taking into account how much I needed to pay me as a cleaner.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I was like, one cleaner, pay them this much for this job, this much in chemicals, this much in insurance, this much in wear and tear on the equipment. Here's a total.
Mm-hmm. So no like extra profit to actually pay you, like the owner's pay.
Uh-huh.
I got it.
So the business has been paying for me to live basically up until, what is it? It's August, last month.
So when you say that, let me just pause right there, because it is not paying you, but it is paying you if you are using to pay your personal expenses. That is your paycheck. You're just not like, so you are getting paid. It's just not like
it's not proper.
Yes, exactly. Proper. That's the best way.
So I don't write myself a check, but like my vehicle insurance, my phone, my internet, all of the things that are used for our team meetings, or if I bring clients in.
Yeah, those are all work expenses, though. So, yeah, I mean,
all of those are paid from the business account. And so then my personal bills, if there's not like enough money there, which we kind of like stack money there. So if there's not enough, like I'll just transfer, $200 over to cover whatever, groceries or whatever from the business account. And so then when I do my bookkeeping, I'm like, oh, look, I transferred myself money. I guess that was my payday. Like, it's just very chaotic and messy. And I would love to hire a professional to sit down and be like, fix this shit show, because that's another thing that I'm like, I don't feel like I can actually scale when this is a shit show.
So I will definitely acknowledge that the bookkeeping has to get in order. Like, it has to. So that is something I think it would be worthwhile to sit down with an accountant. Do you have an accountant or any bookkeepers that you have interacted with?
Yeah. So my tax person is also a bookkeeper and is it CPA? Is that CPA, the initials?
Yeah,
I don't know. But I just go to her yearly for my tax appointment, So I'm like, so she's the only person I've used since I started, and she was actually our tax person when I was still like an employee, a W-2 employee elsewhere. So she's very familiar with us, and I run all of my bookkeeping through QuickBooks, and I do stay up with like categorizing that every month.
It's not as chaotic as you are describing, because the conversations I've had are like, it's all one account, right? And so that's good. That's not the case. One, you are bookkeeping, you are tracking expenses. So you like you have a profit and loss, you can actually see that, right? So it's not, this isn't bad. Okay. You're like so far away from chaos that it just feels chaotic. Okay.
It
So
stresses me out because I feel like it's a mess and I'm like, I don't even know.
So right there, like it feels like a mess. Can we dig into that? What specifically do you mean? Because you are bookkeeping, you're tracking your expenses. Is it I'm not paying myself regularly? Is it all of the rates are all over the place? Like what exactly specifically is it?
It's definitely that I don't pay myself regularly. So I just have like any business expense, I just have it set up to like auto come out of the business checking account. Um, so I'm like, car payment, yeah, that needs to come out of the business account. Phones, yeah, that needs to come out of the business account. And I just have it all like auto taken out, you know. And we don't have an office, so we have a storage unit that we store everything in and we go to get before. And so that's on there. It's all just on auto. And so I'm just like, it's paying for everything and it doesn't go negative. So that's great. But like, it just feels like to be a business owner, the number in there should be much larger than what it is. And it just doesn't feel like there's cushion to be like, yes, okay, everything's paid and there's this much in there. Like I could easily cover XYZ if ABC happened, you know?
So that's a rainy day fund. Okay. So I guess, or basically what I would, if I was in your place, and that's what you're talking about is that anxiety of you don't have an emergency fund for the business. And so what I would do, and this is kind of taking off of, the profit first kind of mentality is if you don't have a business savings account, do that. And every single month or week or whenever you're doing the finances, transfer 1% of the revenue that you brought in, put it in there. And you just slowly build that bitch up. And this is exactly how you pay yourself too on a regular basis is if you're not comfortable with whatever, start with 1% of the revenue that you brought in. That's Amanda's paycheck. And it goes, like you allocate that on, and again, that's a profit first concept. And that way, 1%, you're not going to feel that. You're not going to feel it, but it's actually making progress to the thing that's giving you great anxiety. For us, I put 2% of revenue into the business savings account every single week. I don't feel that. We don't feel that 2%, right? But it's building because I know what you mean. I am the same way. I like to have a nice fat buffer, it soothes me. It soothes me that if something goes wrong. And so if that's what's really holding you back from feeling confident, that's a really it feels like you're not making progress, but you actually are. And you're actually, because it's consistent. There's no consistency right now, just like you're not getting consistently paid. And that sucks. And so if you are physically doing the cleaning, that means you have money to pay a cleaner on that job because you've priced it as if somebody else was doing it. I would suggest if you need, this is just, again, my 2 cents. You don't have to do this, but I would suggest if you are physically doing the cleaning, pay yourself as if you were a cleaner. Pay yourself exactly what you would have paid a cleaner because the margin should be there if you're pricing correctly. So somebody has to get paid for that. So that's going to help you feel better. And or if you don't want to do that, take what you would have paid a cleaner and stick that into that business savings if that's much more of a higher priority too of getting that buffer and you don't need to take that personally. And think of that as saving for future Amanda of when she needs it for whatever reason. So every single job that gets done, the money that would have paid a cleaner, if there was not a cleaner, needs to go somewhere. Don't just leave that as the business checking or whatever, because it's that I think that gets us into bad habits of not paying ourselves, of not building savings, all of the things. So it's the money's there. And if the business cannot survive without paying, if you're doing these cleanings and you're not paying anybody to do these cleanings and the business can't be the business cannot exist or make enough money to survive without you not taking a paycheck, well, then something's broken here. We need to look at every job. We need to look at every job and every single margin and all of your expenses. Something's not there's not enough money here. That means to go around. So I would start analyzing that of what does this look like? I love that you don't have an office yet. Don't need it. Doesn't make sense for you to, so the overhead is low. And I know that you're really nervous because you have been running I-9s, transitioning into W-2s and the expenses related to that. Well, number one, liability insurance at your size not going to be that expensive. It's really
I
not.
actually already have
Oh,
liability.
good. Okay, great.
My
Excellent.
insurance guy, he allows me to cover liability on myself and the one 1099 that I have right now. So I have that and I have workers' comp on the two of us.
See, this is what I don't get, because like you have workers' comp, but they're an IC. Like you're already paying all of the expenses related to W-2s. And so it's really not benefiting you that much. And as for paying like payroll, like taxes and stuff, that's the one category that's not happening, because they're technically the independent contractor is supposed to be doing that. So in the future of going towards W-2s and transitioning to hiring W-2s in the future, like it's actually the only thing we're talking about for expense that's not happening right now is payroll taxes. And it's not like, again, if you're paying like, because we've ran through your numbers before, I know, but what is your plan for how much to pay a staff member? Remind me.
Like between 16 and 20.
Okay. So how much, I know you don't charge hourly, but on average, how much are you making per hour?
Around 70 to 75.
Okay, there's enough fucking money, girl. There's enough fucking money. You can immediately transition to W-2. Like, trust me.
Can I just pay you to do this part for me?
Yeah. So it's not complicated. You just, get your payroll software or whatever. You hire them as a W-2. You file the new hire reports in the state. And then when you run your payroll with whatever you use, like I said, we use Gusto. You can do this through QuickBooks and everything. Like, it's going to calculate how much to withhold, because it's going to withhold some of it from the paycheck of the employee. So obviously, what somebody makes hourly isn't what they take home, as we all know, gross versus net. And so that portion's taken out of theirs. And then we have our portion as the employer, but it scales as you add more employees. It's not going to be thousands of dollars. It's based on the payroll of that employee. So it's not that much. I promise it's not that much. And with the margins that you have, like there's plenty of money. I mean, we charge way less than you, and we pay higher in some cases, and the money's still there. Right. And so there's plenty of money to go around. But yeah, as for actually like doing the thing of like, this is now a W-2, it's pretty simple. It's just, you file the new hire report with the state, which Gusto does that for you automatically. Plug for Gusto. Not that I'm sponsored or anything like that. But Gusto does all of the new hire reporting. It reminds you to do all your paperwork, to do your I-9, to do the things that you need to do. You have your new hire policies that you decide upon. They sign that. And other than that, they just fill out their bank information. It withholds from their paycheck, and they can adjust what that looks like when they fill out their W-2. That's kind of on them to do. And other than that, Gusto actually pays all of our payroll taxes automatically for us every single week when we run payroll. So like it's so easy. Like it's super duper easy. And then of course you have your quarterly taxes that you need to, but that's your accountant. You know what I mean? That's not necessarily related to payroll. That's related, like that is profit, taxes on profit, right? So it's not, I think you're making this a mountain. It's actually more like a hill. I won't say a molehill, but like a little mound.
Yeah. It just feels like I haven't had the greatest money habits up into like this summer. And so now I feel like I'm constantly backtracking, like, okay, here are the expenses that are coming out. Is there enough money there to pay that and to pay your contractors for next week, because they get paid? So the one that I have on right now, she requests pay the following week after the week of jobs that she's done. And the reason we do W-9 I charge her a supply fee, and she just goes to the unit and uses all of our supplies. So I charge her a monthly supply fee. But she cleans for other people as well.
She's an independent contractor. Yep. Mm-hmm.
And so like, I don't know. It just feels so overwhelming. And like, I feel like I need to have, I don't know, like a certain amount of thousands of dollars in this bank account to make sure that like all of the business expenses can be paid and payroll like automatically coming out. I'm terrified of a bank account going negative.
I mean, I'm definitely one to watch the accounts, or at least for years. Like every day I was checking the accounts and seeing what's coming out and making sure everything was timed right and stuff like that. But remember, if you're bringing in like every single job pays for every single staff member like that is on that job. So it's not like there is any overhead related to somebody physically doing the work. The overhead is from all of the extras, right? So like like the job itself is paying for that staff member. You're worried about, is there enough to cover all of the overhead related? And that comes down to, we need to figure out, how much is the overhead and like, when are these things pulling? Yeah. I hope you get this big church job because then you won't be worried about any of this shit.
Literally, that's what I said. I was like, because this has been my issue, and I've been so terrified to talk. This is the first conversation I've had out loud about this whole situation. But it's the thing that has been like keeping me small. And I'm so fucking tired of playing small. Like, I want to be big. I want to be making $30,000 to $40,000 a month. And like, that used to be my yearly money. Like, and then I'm like, I know I have the systems in place. I know I have the software in place. I know it can be streamlined. I just have to stop playing small. And then I look at my bank account and I'm like, oh, but that needs, something has to give there. Like, there has to be something. And every month it's like we just signed on a federal deal for a one-time clean, and they're gonna go with us for quarterly cleans, which is amazing for us. And it's a pretty good cushion that's gonna push me through the next 4 weeks. And then I'm like, okay, but it just feels like I'm constantly like, okay, the next set of invoices will definitely cover this amount of expenses and this amount of payroll. So I need to go find, 4 more post-construction jobs to bring in a couple more $1,000 or whatever it is. It feels like I'm constantly just in that chase mode, and I can't just be like, okay, there's enough. Everything's fine. Just let things flow. Does not feel like that. And that's what I'm craving. Like, I want it to just flow without me panicking and trying to find jobs, because nothing ever works well when I panic and try to chase down jobs.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I love that again, thank you for voicing these anxieties, because they're very real. And at the end of the day, like, the money side of things can be an incredibly stressful. And obviously, like, that's why people fail, is the financial side of not managing that correctly. That is a reality. Most small businesses fail, and almost always has to do with improper money management, right? And so number one is the beautiful thing is, this is simply math, and math doesn't lie. Math is math.
The numbers don't lie.
So we're speaking all of this anxiety and emotions and volatility, and it feels like a lot of unknowns. Am I going to have enough? At the end of the day, your fixed operational costs, take out paying, like, we're talking about overhead, right? So not paying staff members, not paying independent contractors, not paying for the labor. Everything on top of that is a fixed cost. We know what your car payment is. We know what your phone is. We know what storage unit is. Like, what is that number? Okay. So once we figure out that is whatever, $3,000 a month, I don't know, $5,000 a month. Okay. We need $5,000 a month, like, profit to pay for these things on top of then paying the staff member. So, but we know that for every job that we do, that covers the staff member. So then it's just simply a volume thing. And I know we've talked about this before, about how, you're doing a lot of one-offs, or it feels like you get a lot of one-offs as opposed to the reoccurring. And I think a lot of this anxiety can be solved by really pushing and hammering into getting reoccurring. Like, that should be the main focus, because it's like, once you get that base of reoccurring, then we know that that's there. We're not chasing the next dollar of a one-off, right? Or a move out, because that is volatile. It's very stressful, and the opposite of what we want to be doing with this type of industry, right? And so I know that for you, though, then, okay, the next hang up related to that, like, okay, this is simply math. How much money do we need to make every month to pay these fixed costs, right? And so we can figure that out. That's a math problem, right? However, for you, I know then it's like, but then I'm cleaning a lot, because I don't have, so you're in that, like, weird in between, like, I'm getting pulled in the field now, and now that's really overwhelming, and I can't actually focus on what I need to focus on. And I think that the solution, again, is a hire that is flexible on their hours, because then it doesn't matter. They can be doing that. You can focus on building the business, and you're always going to, like, this is how that it always feels chicken and egg. That is like the plight of what we do, of like, too many clients, not enough cleaners, or too many cleaners, not enough clients, right? We're always chasing our tails with that. And that's why part-timers are so attractive, of like, you have to always be hiring, ABC, ABH, what, ABC, always be coding. Zen has got in my head. Alex, if you're watching this, ABC, he's the lead developer. That's that made, but we always need to be hiring ahead of the actual like jobs that we have because we have to be in preparation and proactive. So it is uncomfortable, but all we need to do is communicate and not promise. Like I can't give you full time or whatever, unless you're hiring for a specific job. Like if you get this church, like for example, our big accounts, like we have like those are like, okay, I'll give you an example. Our biggest account, which is at Federal Research Facility, we have 2 gentlemen who are the cleaners there. They are both part-time. They work 4 hours a day like that. And they only go to that job. That is all they do for Serene Clean. That's all they do. And that's all they want. They don't want any other jobs. And they are tickled pink to get that. And so it's like, there are plenty of people who are like, that's what they want. They don't want 40 hours and, or they only want to do like one account or whatever that looks like if it's big enough. So, I think that, you have to get comfortable with this uncomfortable feeling of like, but jobs, like it's like, yeah, this is what we do. This is is the reality of a cleaning business.
The name of the game.
Exactly. 100%.
I think it was like so easy to get through. Like when I think back to first starting and like it was really scary and uncomfortable to tell people my price. And then I like worked through that and now I'm like, okay, whatever, that's fine. But it was just me. And I have like that hustle mentality. Like I was raised to hustle. So I will always figure it out. But then when there's other people, that is like a whole nother pressure. And I'm like, holy shit, I cannot allow somebody to go without food on their freaking table for their family. But then also like at some point, I have to realize that that's not 100% my responsibility. That's only partially my responsibility. And they also have to do what they have to do. But I never want to put somebody in that position where they stay because they feel bad or whatever. And then they're like starving. So I know this is really dramatic, but these are the thoughts that go through and it's a lot of pressure. So like what I have a list of applicants, and all of them want like 20 hours a week, 15 to 20 hours. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you're like an angel. Where did you come from? Like, I can make that happen. I work 15 hours a week in the field right now. You can take my spot. Like, yes. So we actually have somebody starting tomorrow with us, which is kind of an off day because we start that federal project. So it's not like a normal day. I'm like, well, also it's not our normal day. So sorry about that, but it's going to be fine. But the vibes are very like-minded, very much like me, and very excited to see a local small business grow. And they mentioned they want to be a part of watching that. And I was like, done. Come on, like, let's go. Whether you stay a cleaner or you do something else, like I want you on my team somehow. So hopefully that little shimmer or glimmer, I guess, is like a tiny step toward getting this scale thing figured out, because that's the struggle, trying to figure out like this week. So with them starting, I'll be out in the field.
You're going to be out in the field, but then you're going to move all of your clients onto her. And then think about that. You're a couple weeks away from like basically not cleaning except as a backup capacity, right?
Yes, exactly. And so then like last week I was in the field. Oh my gosh. I think I worked like 34 hours in the field. I haven't done that in a long, long time. And I was like
destroyed.
I am hurting. Like I've got an ice pack on a shoulder, a heating pad on a hip. I'm popping ibuprofen. I'm soaking in a bath, and I'm trying to like make a list of everybody I need to get in back with because it's freaking late. I haven't eaten dinner and I can't call somebody back at 7:30 at night. And so it's just like mentally so tapped out. So I took this weekend to just rest my body and reset. And then this week I'm like, okay, I feel like I can do this. But that area of transitioning to try to get out of the field, bring people on to take your place in the field so that you can focus on the CEO task is what I call it in my time blocking thing. I'm like, I need to be getting these quotes. The longer this quote sits in my inbox, the less chance I have of winning it. Somebody looking for a biweekly cleaning. That's what I need. I need to be able to reach out to those biweekly cleaning people immediately. But yeah, like right now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 recurring clients. This past week, I reached out to all of them and upsold almost every person for a holiday clean. And so that's the type of like hustle. That's what I call hustle that I do.
Yeah. Well, you just need the energy to do it. And that's like being in the field. It really just sucks all of that creative energy out of you because you're just surviving and you are just getting the basic administrative tasks done. So I will say it's like, you're literally on the precipice right now. I think you're feeling so overwhelmed because you just cleaned so much last week and it's got you down, but it's like you're describing all these things like, oh, I got these perfect applicants and I have this big job and this and this and this. Like, it's just like, and I say this in the most like, I love you way possible. Like, you got to get out of your fucking head, girl. Like,
yes, like I have to get the fuck out of my own way because I know I can solve this church's problems. I know I can get more clients. We know what we're doing. I have the systems and foundations in place. That's what I've spent this entire damn year building, studying ZenMaid, listening to podcasts, listening to books, learning from people who are making millions, which is way above what I am anywhere even close to dreaming about. And like, I know I can do it. And all of our clients are happy. They're so happy. I just did our, like, what's it called? I don't even know what it's called, follow-up, like reaching out to them and being like, hey, how are things going? Is there anything you'd like to see different in your routine cleanings? Like, everybody's so happy. And I'm like, there's nothing wrong. There's nothing to fix. I just have to get the fuck out of my way.
This feels like, class A imposter syndrome of like, you may be even self-sabotaging in some ways because you are terrified. And so like, it is all happening as it should. And like, meaning like these opportunities are coming right now for a reason. Like we say this in Serene Clean, same thing how you were like, oh, I really want commercial. Like we speak something out in the ether and it's like it manifests in our lap. Sometimes in a way we did not expect at all. Like, oh shit, I didn't mean to ask for this. Like,
no, for real. I'm so big on manifesting. And I know that really like went viral a few years ago or whatever, but like that's a really big part of why I'm where I am. And that's why like the money thing, I'm like, oh, well, I know I need $2,000 in 3 days, but like, I will manifest that. It's fine. But then I'm like, what is happening? Why isn't there a cushion? Why can't I get this figured out to where I can scale? And I think I'm also scared because previously, I don't know if I've told you this, but I used to run a team of about 5. And I didn't ever up my rates the more team members I took on. So I was charging like $80 for a cleaning, and me and 4 other people would be in there cleaning for about an hour and a half. And I was paying them all around $15 an hour and providing all supplies. So I wasn't making money. I was losing money. And I'm really scared to make mistakes again to get myself, because I'm still trying to fix the finances from that fuckery.
So right there, like you just spoke out like I think what the hang up is here of like, I am afraid of making the same mistake that I made before. I am terrified of once I start adding that particular number of cleaners or getting to that, it's all gonna fall apart just like it did. And like I've in my own personal life, I've been doing the same thing. I'm like, I'm so afraid of making the same mistakes again. And it's like, but even just acknowledging that and like I think just saying that and being like, that helps us figure out, okay, what exactly was that mistake? Because right, I mean, you're talking about math, you're talking about finances. That is the problem there. It wasn't ever anything else. And you've done so much work this past year on implementing so much stuff, and now the finances are there. So that fear is actually, though I understand why you feel that, the evidence supports that's not going to happen again, right? Because it's not like you're just like, hitting yourself in the knee with a hammer saying ouch and then doing it again. Like you learned from the first hammer hit, but you're still afraid when you see the hammer sitting on the wall there, like, oh, I shouldn't touch it. Like,
no, that's so real. Oh my God. I'm so glad you were able to just like point that out, because I mean, sometimes I think we just need somebody else to look at it and be like, yo, what the hell are you doing? Like, this is exactly what's happening right now.
I've been in a lot of therapy this year, so like it's really helped me.
Listen, I really think everybody needs a therapist. Just saying, like, therapy should be like, we should come out of the womb with a therapist. Like, here's your therapist.
You're assigned life therapist, and this is who go through life with. Oh gosh, if only.
I know. Yeah, no, for real. I hear people who have the same therapist since they were like early teenagers, and I'm like, wow, they've really like heard everything. That's
Yeah.
impressive.
God,
Like,
that'd be
you
amazing.
can't ever let go of that person.
Yeah, the hard part about like starting with a new therapist is you feel like here's the DVD Lord of the Rings set of my life to catch you up because it's exhausting. There's too much.
Yeah, I actually don't want to retell all of this again. So if you could just like somehow tap in and just watch it all happen, that'd be great. Yeah. So yeah, there's a lot of fear around making those same mistakes. And I actually, my health took a very huge toll, and I actually got injured that same year that I was going through the team of 5 and extreme survival mode, extreme depression. I hurt my shoulder. I hurt my knee. I was down. The cleaners were calling out, not doing quality. So I was like telling them to clean and then going behind them and cleaning because I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. Okay. Like I knew I wanted to be a good leader, but I didn't know how to do it in the cleaning industry. And so after, all of them left, I was solo again. And so there was a little bit of a balance of like survival mode, make enough to pay your bills that you have. And don't take on any extra, just survive and get this shit together because I don't want to be cleaning the rest of my life. I love cleaning. I love that in a residential, boy, I can just check out and clean. And it's like so soothing because I just know what I'm doing. Like there's no thought process behind it for me. I can just check out, but I don't want to do that forever. So it's just scary. It's so scary.
It is scary. And every time, like, but to me that just shows us like anytime we're super afraid of something or like feeling all of this anxiety related to something, it's like that means that this is like a huge opportunity for me to grow and change. And like looking back at every like really big like jump, like I was feeling all of those things. And it's just, yeah, having faith that, and at what is the worst that could happen and name it, because we took on a large commercial account at the beginning of the year and we could not keep the damn thing staffed. All of our cleaners were just super overwhelmed at it. We didn't bid it high enough. All of these things, we fucked it up and we lost it. And well, meaning we dropped it. We are the ones who dropped it because we're like, we can't do this. And, like that, we look at that and like we've learned so much from that. Like I'm really happy that happened. And so it's like, okay, you try this church 2 months in, you're like, fuck this, I can't drop it. Just drop it. Like that's it. That's done.
Right. Yeah, that really is like the worst that happens. I think I also have a fear of like if I'm growing residential, like I know how to do residential. I don't know the flow of this church or any church. I haven't cleaned a church. I did the walkthrough. Sure. I know how to take out trash. I know how to clean a toilet. I know how to clean a water fountain. I know how to wipe down tables and sweep them up floors. I know how to do those things, but the flow. And so it feels scary for me to hire somebody and set the expectation when I haven't done it myself. And so in the email to the church, I said, I will be on site for the first 2 weeks with the cleaning technicians to ensure that we have a good flow going. If they have any questions, they will come to me. So you're not managing any of them. We're going to work together as Stovall's Cleaning Services as a team to get this set up and flow properly for you guys.
Good job. I'm really selling that what they're looking for, which is not to manage people. And you bring up a good point that one of the hardest parts about large facilities is in what order do we do the rooms, especially when we're looking at time related things like they have of like, you can't clean this till this time, or we want this done by this time of the day. It does introduce a lot of complexity, but the nice thing is, yeah, you just start writing stuff down and trying different orders and you get that down. And then once you have it, here you go, cleaner. This is the order that you do this in, right?
Exactly. And I think that's the thing that scared me the most about it. And I was like, I don't know that I can take this on because I've never done it. And I'm very much a person who's like, I'm not going to ask somebody to do something I haven't done myself. And so then before I sent the email, it just dawned on me, hey, you can actually go with them, learn, analyze, adjust, which analyze and adjust is like my jam. That's what I've done all 6 years of my business. Like, why can't I apply it at this church? And, she even said at the walkthrough, once you get into a flow, it's really easy, but it does take time. She's been a cleaner. She cleaned the church herself. Bless her heart. So she understands. And I like that I did the walkthrough. And I think this is a really good testament to doing in-person walkthroughs for something like this. We were able to make that connection. And like I said earlier in the podcast, I was able to hear her tone change and really pick up on what is actually the problem. And then on my email, like, yeah, you might have to wait until January for me, but I'm going to fix your problem.
Exactly. And then what the core issue is, and that same thing. Yeah. When we got that big federal facility, I flew up to Wisconsin. I was up there for a month and I went every single night to make sure, because it was the same thing. I was like, I have no fucking idea how we're going to move this place. It's huge. There's like 6 levels and wings and all this stuff. And so, but now it's like, they do it, they know it like the back of their hand, right? And so, I mean, I was getting lost. I had a map. I'm like, where am I? Like Dora the Explorer. So it's just a really big place. And so it was the same thing of like, everything feels overwhelming until you actually get in it. And though it still does, but it's like, because it's almost like you're chomping at the bit of like, I need to be in it. I need to clean the damn thing. I need to just do it. And you learn it.
Yes. I told my wife, I said, do you think the church would be down if I just took my lead tech, Micaiah, up there and just did like a trial run and like cleaned a classroom and timed it, cleaned a bathroom, timed it, cleaned the kitchen, timed it, so that I have a fucking idea, because I'm just so overwhelmed. And she was like, you're going to do that for free? I'm like, I need data. I have no data. Like,
that would soothe you a lot. And honestly, most likely, in some situations, I wouldn't suggest that. But in this particular one where you've made this connection with this woman and it's like, listen, we're just trying to get this down. That might be, and it might actually make you feel a lot better by how fast it can go. Because that shit goes faster than you think in commercial. And so, yeah, I think that would probably, honestly, it's like, yeah, let me do some cleaning for you for free.
Yeah, like, why wouldn't they?
Yeah, right. Like, they're not going to say no. And again, like, considering the scale and size of this job and that it is a private entity, it's not a government building. Like they can do whatever they want, and that's a nice thing. So, I mean, not a bad idea. I think it's a great idea because that would make you feel better before going into this. So yeah, but it really is like, I mean, whatever the outcome is, it's going to be fine. And if you do get it, which I truly feel like, I mean, it's pointing in all directions that they want you, to the point that they will wait for you. You've already given them a number and they haven't been like, fuck you, Amanda. So like, all of the good. They pay weekly. It is just simple, old-fashioned cleaning and easier than a house. It's just the logistics of it. So all of these things are like, this is a green flag. Like, everything about this is something that I would pursue. And so even though, you haven't done it before, so I know it. Yeah, I know that these past couple weeks have just been a lot for you, but I really like zoom out and it's like, you're on the right path. You really are. And, sometimes we're just going to feel low. Right before we start recording, both of us are like, we're kind of feeling shitty today. I'm kind of feeling shitty today. You are. The Monday blues, man. Like, and that's okay. Like, it's like, and that doesn't change what needs to be done. You know what I mean? Like,
and I think it's also been super hard for me because I am so action oriented, like zooming out and looking at this big picture of like the finances, the scaling, the hiring. I'm like, I've done all the fucking actions. I don't know what's left for me to do aside from accept that I am worthy of doing this and I am capable of figuring it the fuck out as I go, which I've already proven to myself. I've already done that the past 6 years. I literally started cleaning and letting clients tell me how much they would pay me, and I would just show up on my day off and clean. And now I have a whole ass business. Like, I've already done this to some scale. And so, I mean, back to what you said, like, I just need to get the hell out of my own way.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And just and the hard part too is like, if the thing's not broken, don't fix it. All right. You're closing great. You're upselling, like all of these things. You have clearly hiring like capabilities, because look at all these applicants. Like, it's like, now it's just, we just need to execute, right? We need just to do the things that are working. And I think a lot of times we get really antsy to change shit because that soothes us of like, well, if I just keep tweaking with this thing, and it's like, bitch, it works. Like, why you keep doing this?
That's exactly where I've been for like probably the past 2 weeks or so, because I'm like, action, take action, take action. Okay, tweak this, change that word. I'm like, why am I wasting time on this? I'm shaking my pen.
No, we do that. So like, we do that in Serene Clean. We've actually, to the point of like, we've been tweaking our checklists, and finally we're like, okay, in today's team meeting, I shared my screen. I was like, this is what we're thinking, guys. Do you like it? What do you think? And like, okay, good. That we were overthinking it completely. We totally were, because we were nervous to make a mistake. We were nervous that like, does this even matter? Like, what even matters? And then we get relaxed.
Who knows at this point? Like, I don't know. I don't know. Like, it's very much, I mean, it's just complicated to try to figure out the balance of like, okay, I need to focus on growing, hiring, scaling. Okay, we need more reoccurring clients. That's my like big thing that I need, because I need that consistent revenue so that I'm not consistently like chasing cleans, right? One-off cleans, which we're very well known for in our area, which is a great thing. Like, we just did a quote for a local builder who wants us to do all of their post-construction, which is great. I love that they want to partner with us. Unfortunately, that's not consistent revenue. So like, yeah, we might get these one jobs that are $2,200, $2,800. And then next month I'm like, oh shit, okay, we are like $1,300 down from what we need to be able to cover expenses. Like, how do I do this? The answer is recurring clients. And so I'm trying to focus on finding recurring clients. I'm trying to focus on finding applicants and getting them on a Zoom and getting them started, and also finding jobs for them to do, and also working quotes for the people who do come in. And I'm out in the field still. So I just feel like I'm drugged by like every appendage possible. And I'm like, holy shit, like I just need to breathe. But I feel like there's not even time for me to breathe, because the longer I breathe, the more these people can go find John Doe down the road to clean.
Well, and you are bringing the reality of like, this isn't fucking easy. Like, this is not easy at all.
I'm drowning, guys. I am literally drowning. Like, every day I'm like, okay. I'm above water for like 5 minutes, and then I'm like, fuck, here we go.
The solution truly is to get you out of the field, and that solution is about to happen. And like, keep in mind, like we're doing our best, and shit can always happen, and we just have to let go of the control of like, okay, you just hired this person, next week she might ghost you. She might. That doesn't mean don't do the thing, because right now you can't stay where you are. You can't stay cleaning because of all of this shit that's happening. And everybody listening, I know so many of you are in the exact same spot where you're like, I'm dying because I'm cleaning and doing all this stuff. And it's like, you have to get out of the fucking field if you want this thing to grow. You can't keep doing this, because there's just not enough of you to go around, especially with all of you that got kids. And I'm like, how the fuck do you do this with kids?
Yeah, no, for real. Like, I wear a wife hat. I wear a mom hat. Oh, I also homeschool my child, and I'm trying to do all of this in the business. I am actually drowning right now. Like, my friends, they got like an hour of me this past weekend. I was like, I gotta go. Like, this is all I can give. And thankfully, I have a very small circle, and they all understand that. But holy shit, I'm like, I just feel like I'm running a marathon, and I can't take a break. I got to keep pushing. And then there's days where the sun is really bright and it's 93 degrees in September in Missouri, and it pisses me off. And I'm like, I actually don't want to keep going anymore. I just want to run away to the forest where it's cold and drizzly. And it's really hard.
It is really hard. And like, this is the reality of like, I don't know, like I've had some guests on that are like very successful, and they've said things along the lines of like, it doesn't have to be this way, but I don't know how it can't be. And maybe it's just my lack of wisdom, because it's meaning like, obviously, like we know you need to get out of the field, but these moments of complete overwhelm, especially considering the reality of your life and all of your responsibilities, like anybody would be overwhelmed, because this is overwhelming. This is not a fault of yours. This is not a failure of yours. It is factually overwhelming. So it's like, okay, the one thing that we need, like, yes, get you out of the field. What needs to happen to make that happen? You need to hire somebody. Like, that's it. That is the focus. And just, yeah, keep everything else going. And it's like it is all possible, but just managing yourself and managing, and also taking care of yourself. It's tough.
I think maybe what they're saying when they say it doesn't have to be like this is it doesn't have to be like that forever. Because when I did have a team of 5, this is how I felt every single day for 2.5 years in my business. And I'm telling you, I was like, I cannot quit. I don't have a quitter's mindset unless I just know it's not for me. But I know I'm meant to fucking do this, so I could not quit. it took me losing all of those team members and going solo. My wife quit her job to come help me in the business. Like, it was a whole family ordeal for the pain to be enough. We've talked about this. The pain pressure was enough to light a fire under my ass to be like, something's got to change. And so I had to learn in the industry. And it's so crazy. I was just talking, like, I used to learn from watching like YouTube videos and like social media influencers who are cleaning business owners. And now I'm like, oh, that's cool. Now I get to like DM people who are like making multiple millions from cleaning, and I'm like nowhere near that. But that's how I'm getting my information now. It feels so much faster, and those connections, I mean, they just mean so much to me. That was the top of my gratitude list this week, is the connections I've made so far through ZenMaid.
100%. And like the thing is talking to Sharon Cow, and her episode hasn't gone live yet, but I mentioned her to you, and that like she built an empire before like basically the internet even like was like really well used in businesses. They were writing letters to each location. Like, that's how they communicated. And I'm like, what? But so I'm just like, the fact that we have the internet and all of the resources, and we have direct access into the brains of the people who have done this before. It's like not saying it's not hard, but it's a lot easier today to do what we're trying to do because of the knowledge base that we have access to. So yeah, it's very encouraging, because I'm like, oh, I could just message this person and ask them.
Yes, exactly. And I just want to encourage anybody who's listening, if you are going through something and you're following this podcast, or whoever you're following on whatever streaming or app it is, be brave and send the DM. That is literally how I'm here on this podcast. I was brave one day and I was like, Stephanie is never going to reply to me. She's like way up here. I'm down here. Like, she doesn't even know I exist. She replied. And guys, we just be chatting it up on this podcast now.
We message every day. Like, we voice message. Like, I'm walking my dog. Let me tell you about my day.
Like, don't underestimate the power of sending that DM and just being brave for a second. And it's going to feel scary. My heart rate was probably like 150 when I messaged Mark the other day. And I was pretty sure I wasn't going to get a reply, because who the hell am I to message Mark?
And just really like, you can only control your actions, and like, maybe they're too busy and they're not going to respond. But like, that's why I'm here. I sent an email to Amar of like, hey, like, I'm thinking of starting a YouTube channel, but I don't want to manage a YouTube channel. Can I make content for you? Like, as Stephanie. And that's how it started. I just sent an email.
Oh, I love that so much. Yes, it just takes a second of being brave. And yeah, worst case scenario, you're on red and they can't get back to you. And maybe they get back to you in a few months. Maybe they never do, whatever. At least you were brave enough to ask. And I think it's so important to ask for knowledge, or ask to pick somebody's brain from somebody who is sitting where you want to be.
It's so true. And honestly, I know anybody that I've talked to that has made any level of success, they love when people want to know about knowledge, like, because we like talking about it. Like, I was talking to somebody yesterday and they asked me, they're like, so how'd you get started with ZenMaid? And an hour later, I was like, oh, sorry. Like, what were you saying? Because like, I'm like, I obviously, like, I mean, I love the podcast, and I love sharing knowledge, and I love sharing like what worked for me or mistakes or anything. And I find that most people who have made it to anything like that, we love, like, that makes us happy, because our business is boring because it's just running so smoothly. Flex. But like, it gets boring, you know?
I love that journey for you.
So it's just like, oh, this is fun. And it's exciting to help other people in this way. So like, sometimes, yeah, like, frankly, a running business is very boring because it's well running.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that's kind of like, I feel like since I started using ZenMaid in February or March of this year, early on this year. And when I really dove in and like created all of our foundations, created our systems, really got things integrated and understood the software, the things that took up so much of my freaking time are not taking up my time now. And that is why I've been able to be like, okay, so I'm going to be really honest. The goal of me being out of the field was my 5-year goal at the beginning of this year, January of 2025. By December of 2025, I will be out of the field. I will be a backup cleaner. Like, that was a 5-year goal. And because I put all of these systems in place, and now I had all of that time to be creative and really think, I was like, holy shit. no, I can do this year. This doesn't have to be 5 years. So now in 5 years, I don't even want to live in Missouri. Like, it just exploded so many things for me. And I'm like, I really needed to go through all of those pain points to be able, it led me to Carolyn Arellano's YouTube videos, and that led me to ZenMaid, which led me to you, which led me to talking to Mark, and here we are today. Like, it's just, everything happened, and I don't know, it sucked to go through the painful things, but I don't think I would change any of it because it got me exactly where I am today. No. And even if I don't get this huge commercial bid, I think it opened a door for me to stop being scared of big commercial. Mm-hmm. Like, just from this conversation today, I feel less anxious about it.
You'll be able to do walkthroughs in the future and be like, I've done this before. Like the next walkthrough that you do at a big place, well, you've already done it. Even if you didn't get that, you already had that experience. So it's like, everything's just practice,
Exactly. And I'll remember to ask when their expected start date is, because I forgot to have very important information on this one. Yeah. So I just feel like it needed to happen for me to, feel confident in this is an option for you. Even though you're mostly residential, you can do commercial. And, I live right next to a city, like we're in a small town, but the next city over is like 10-minute drive, and it's like 56,000 population. So it's not giant, but it's definitely big enough for me to do commercial painting in. Like, why not?
Absolutely. I mean, so many businesses, and it's like, like Serene Clean started in Black River Falls. It's 5,000 people. 5,000 people. And like, we made it to, let's see, I think we just opened our second location when we hit 1 million. And that was like Sparta has 10,000 people. So we're talking about like, in the entire area that we were serving, we're talking maybe 40,000 people, right? And we were hitting them. It's just like, so it can be done everywhere, literally everywhere. And especially with commercial, because it's like every business needs to be cleaned in some capacity. Well, technically all houses do too. So it's like, there's just so much business to go around.
I mean, it's a very interesting mindset because residential is viewed as like a luxury and commercial is a necessity. Commercial clients are like, oh my God, you didn't have time to clean that window. It's totally fine. Everything's fine. It's fine. Residential, they're like, there's one fingerprint on the bottom of that window. I expect a full refund. Like, completely different.
No, it is. And there's beautiful pros and cons to both sides of it. And, chasing both, it is complicated. It adds complexity. And so I will, caution all of you guys of like, if you're going to be going after like big commercial, like, yeah, there is challenges that you are not going to face in residential. 100%. The stakes are, higher. If you do lose the account, it really, really, like if I lost my two biggest accounts, like, I don't know, I'd be picking up a toilet brush, I guess. I don't fucking know, but like, it would be really stressful.
And that's also like a scary thing too. Like in business, like all it takes is fucking up one of your big accounts and everybody's like, oh shit, like what do we do? Well, we figure it out just like we figured everything else out.
Absolutely. Well, on that note, Amanda, I know you got shit to do this afternoon, but like, this was great. It almost feels like we're just having this conversation and nobody's going to watch it. But like, I forget that
I kind of forgot. I kind of forgot.
Oh yeah, this is other people are watching this right now. Hey guys, leave Amanda some love in the comments. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. If you are not subscribed, what are you doing? And we'll see you on the next episode of Filthy Rich Cleaners, guys. Bye-bye.